Loveth was very tender when her father died. She was left with only her poor mother to take care of her. She grew up to be a beautiful and intelligent girl. She had always wanted to go to the city to make a good living for her and her mother. They could barely afford 2 square meals a day, and this had made her sad most at times. One day, Loveth went to a small market in her village. She came across her old school friend who just returned from the city and they exchanged greetings. Loveth also went ahead to narrate to her the present situation she and her mother is facing. Alice, her friend, felt for her and offered to take her to the city to get useful for herself. Loveth was very happy hearing this from her friend. Loveth thanked her and they went their different directions. Loveth got home and happily explained everything to her mother. Her mother deeply appreciated this offer from Alice. She advised her daughter to make good use of this opportunity to make a good living for herself. Loveth promised her mother she is going to make her proud. The day arrived and Loveth was all set to travel to the city with Alice. Alice arrived, and they set off to the city. They arrived at Alice's apartment. Loveth admired her for her achievements. She felt good and comfortable in her new environment. They both cooked and did everything together. Few days later, Alice gathered some money and gave her friend Loveth to start up a business of her choice. She told her the money was for her business, but she can start up a business with it so that she would pay her back later. Loveth started her new boutique shop. Things started moving for her and she began making a lot of money. One day a guy named Richard walked into her shop. He got all he came to buy and made his payments. Richard admired her beauty. He approached her and they exchanged contracts. Richard invited her for dinner and they both had good time together. Alice, on the other hand, had seen Loveth spend lots of money in Richard. Loveth could spend money going to clubs with Richard, buying gifts for him, paying rents for him, but had never for one day given her a dime for the money she lent her. Alice wasn't happy at all. She needed that money to add up to her business. Alice called Loveth to discuss this with her. Loveth made promises she never fulfilled. Alice got angry and confronted her, and they both had a quarrel. Later that day, Loveth decided she was going to move out of Alice's house. She packed all her belongings and left for Richard's house. When she got there, Richard wasn't happy about this. "Why should you pack into my house without informing me?" Richard asked angrily. Loveth told him how she had a fight with her friend. Richard couldn't do anything but to let her stay. Unknown to Loveth, Richard had another girlfriend who visits him often. Richard never loved Loveth, but he was just after her money. Days passed and Loveth takes care of all necessary bills in Richard's house, including their feeding. She began to get worried with the situation. One day, Loveth decided not to make any food available in the house till he gets back. When Richard returned home, he couldn't find any food in the kitchen. He angrily confronted Loveth. She explained there is no money in the house for food. Richard got even more angry and began to beat her up. He gave her serious bruises all over her face. Loveth cried deeply. This wasn't what she expected from Richard. Day after day, Richard beat her at will. He maltreated her like a maid. One day, Loveth was in the room when Richard's girlfriend walked in. She demanded to know who Loveth is. After a series of argument, they got into a fight. While they were fighting, Richard walked in and joined his girlfriend to beat Loveth up. Loveth became so sad. She started murmuring with herself, "This wasn't what I expected from Richard. This isn't the way I expected things to turn out. What have I done to myself? My mother won't be happy seeing things like this," she cried. Few days later, Loveth received a debit alert on her phone. She was shocked that all the money she kept in her account had been deducted. She was shocked and short of words. She suspected it must be Richard who did this to her. Because it was only Richard that has access to her account, she confronted Richard, but he denied it. She insisted he knew something about this, but he kept on denying it. Instead, Richard brought all her belongings out. He warned he never wants to see her anywhere around his house. Loveth cried her eyes out. "What have I done to myself? Will Alice ever forgive me?" She kept asking herself. She managed to move back to Alice's apartment. She apologized to her. Alice brought her in and she narrated all she went through in the hands of Richard. Alice vowed to teach Richard a lesson of his life. Alice single-handedly got Richard arrested. He remained in the police custody until his family had the money paid. After everything, Alice called Loveth one early morning. She advised it won't be wise to remain in the city doing nothing, suggested Loveth should move back to the village. 2 days later, Loveth moved back to the village. Her mother was so sad about what happened, and Loveth started a small fruit business with the little money had left.